the negotiation and the IFU process can get pretty, I don't want to say dirty, but it can get pretty intense, especially when there's, 4 or 5 competitors involved.
For our listeners who are not in the industry and they're curious, and I am too, because right now my role in pharmaceutical sales, there are, as far as the negotiation of contracts, in certain positions we're very limited in what we can do. I mean, there's GPO contract, there's a lot of things out of our hands that take place. What is that like when you're in that role, as you're learning how to navigate and negotiate those contracts as well? Is it that on your team, the perimeters in which you can, or is it constantly going back to your team, then coming back? What does that look like? And how many times when you're negotiating, is there just like one price that you have already, that your company has decided you on, or do you have freedom in these situations to make changes to the contract or whatever?
Yeah, I mean, it varies. And, I think in the upper echelon of contracts would be a sole source contract. So if you have a sole source contract with a large health system or an IDN, then, that's a good place to be, because typically it's a 90%, 10% contract where if they're going to purchase this certain product and you have it, then they have to purchase 90% of those products from you. So whether that's in one facility or multiple facilities across the IDN, however that might work. But, at Karl Storz, I was selling primarily video and endoscopic video systems. So minimally invasive camera sets, scopes, minimally invasive instrumentation, but also operating room integration, which really takes all the cameras, the vitals machines, any video source in the entire room, and kind of brings it all together and allows you to distribute those images, patient health information, et cetera, around the operating room. And so there were many instances where we might be on contract for operating room integration, but not for video, endoscopic video. And in fact, there were a lot of instances where our competitor might have one and we might have one. And so the negotiation process, I really wasn't much of a part of it until my sales engineer role. And then now in my new role with Echo, I'm a part of it quite a bit. But, the roles out there with enterprise sales and commercial sales, they're really out there meeting with the IDNs regularly, forging relationships at the health system level, and managing those contracts. But, when it's time for a contract renewal, I'd say a lot of times those go out to bid for IFU. I mean, these health systems, they have to do their due diligence, and they might be married to a certain vendor for 5 years for a 5-year contract. But when that 5 years is up, they might want to put their feelers out there, see if they can get a better deal price wise, see if they can get a better value, see if they can get better technology. I mean, technology is constantly changing and constantly growing. So the negotiation and the IFU process can get pretty, I don't want to say dirty, but it can get pretty intense, especially when there's, 4 or 5 competitors involved, because it's an all hands on deck situation for sure. And if you don't have those relationships, even if it is a competitive account, if you haven't been working on those relationships over the past few years, then you're most likely going to get passed over.
Yes.